Hi everyone, can you hear me? Sorry I'm a few minutes late. I can see Maria, Marcia, Laura, Barbara, Charlotte, Terry, Rachel, Patty. Just let me know if you're hearing me okay. I've just got a couple of things I just need to do. I won't be a minute. You should be seeing my other desk with, well, they're actually envelopes. I don't know if you can tell what they are, but so if somebody can just leave me a comment and let me know that you can actually hear me. Hi Vicky. Terry saying yes, can hear in New York. Yes, can hear loud and clear. Hi Karen, hope you're okay. Ashley and everyone, beautiful day here in Illinois. That's Lisa. Sound is great. Hi everyone, South Derbyshire. We've had snow mostly here all weekend. Weird. Snows, then sun comes out, then more snow. It's trying to snow again at the moment, but it's not sticking. So, I mean, it's been covering all the hills and things right in front of my house and my lane, but we've been able to, or I say we have not been out, but people, have been able to come up the lane that live here. Alison, yeah, this is for you. Just give me a minute. Sorry, I'm being distracted now looking at your comments and talking to you. I just need to try and do something very quickly. Just give me 1 minute. So for anybody that doesn't know, I posted on the community wall here on my YouTube channel homepage. I can't even remember when, earlier on in the week, asking if anybody wanted me to do anything specific for tonight's live. And a few people messaged me, so I've kind of got a bit of a list going on. Alison was, I think, one of the first that messaged me, and she gave me a list, bless her, and one of the things was envelopes. So I just need to pull up some information and then we'll crack on. And I can't remember where it is, and that's what I'm looking for now. So I think I might have just found it. Okay, right, let's switch over to display and see if you can see. And I know Vicky likes me to make my screen full screen, so I'll try and make this a bit bigger. Let me just come back now and see if I can see what's going on. So Alison's saying see envelopes. Yes, they look like envelopes. Hi from Sacramento. Francisco, is it? In Spain. Alison Morgan's here. Mandy G is saying that you've had snow, hail and rain. Looking forward to a cozy YouTube session. Great sewing videos this week. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm trying to get a mix in on the channel, of scan and cut, Stampin' Up and sewing. It's not easy because I think I've had a few sewing ones all in a block, but anyway, I'm getting there. I'm trying. Right, I'm on ScanNCut Canvas online. I don't know if I've missed loads of questions or anything, so I'll try and come back and have a quick look. So Alison Morgan's saying, "Oh, Alison, you should get an Ultimate Pro Amazing for envelopes and envelope boxes." And Vicky's saying, "Thank you for the bigger screen." Yeah, so I have got the envelope maker, which I think was a We Are Memory Keepers item that came out years ago, and then Stampin' Up had like their logo put on it. I think it was, I'm not even sure, I think it was made by We Are Memory Keepers, but it was branded as Stampin' Up. And I have got that, and I do still use it sometimes. But you can, try and make envelopes yourself with your ScanNCut if you want to. I think in my model, I think we've discussed this once before. In my model, I think there's a couple of envelope templates, but they're not in all model machines. So I'm going to show you, I think again, we've looked at this site as well. So the first place I'm going to go is to Templatemaker.nl. So on here, you can create boxes and envelopes. There's envelopes in here somewhere. I can't remember where. I think you just have to scroll along and find it on these little icons. There we go, envelopes. So if I click on the envelopes, no, I don't want custom cardboard packaging, thank you. So basically here, I had a very quick look at this yesterday, but I want to show you how you can make your own without using this site. And once you start thinking about it logically, it's quite straightforward. Let me just see. Marcia's asking me, do I have an embroidery machine? Yes, Marcia, I had a combined Janome sewing and embroidery machine, which I've had for years, the Memorycraft 9900, but I don't even know when I changed now. Did I change it in February or March? I can't remember. I've not had it very long, but I've gone to a Brother, and in the UK, it's called the Innovis V5LE, and I love it. It's brilliant. So yes, I do have an embroidery machine, which I've just changed to a Brother recently. Alison D saying, "Hi Alison, I've got the Ultimate Pro, does a great job, but would love the ScanNCut to do it." Okay, right, so hopefully we're going to try and see if or how we can make envelopes using ScanNCut Canvas Workspace. And Denise has put, "This is a great site and lets you take it into Canvas Workspace." Yes, it does, exactly. And as I said, there's lots of things on here. You can use it for boxes. I think we've looked at it before. I think there's a video. There's a video on my channel, almost certainly. I can't remember whether it's a pre-recorded video or whether we did it in a YouTube live. So here on my channel, under the playlist section, there is a specific live playlist. It could be in there. If not, when you're on the homepage of my channel, there's a magnifying glass and you can do a search. And I'll just show you that quickly because people ask me this quite a lot and I don't think they understand where I'm talking about. So if you go to youtube.com, if you're not already on my channel, if you just search my name, I come up and you'll see my logo here, and this is my channel. And when you click on it, there's this tab here. This is the community wall where I posted about, did anybody want me to show anything in particular? And over here, there's a magnifying glass and you can search for anything. So in here, if you typed envelopes, oh, that's not how you spell it, is it? Hang on. You'll have to forgive me because I don't know if you remember, but a few months ago I had a problem with my eyes and I had they were really, really sore for weeks, and I got some drops from the chemist that didn't work, and I ended up having to get antibiotic drops from the doctor, and I used those and almost instantly they started helping. And at the time when the doctor prescribed them, they said to me they didn't know if I had an eye infection or if it was something called dry eyes. Anyway, I used the drops and as I said, they did more or less help instantly. And I had to use the whole tube, which took me, I can't remember, a week or two, I can't remember. And my eyes were great, and they've been great for the last few weeks. And then yesterday and today, they've started really hurting again. So to the extent, that's why I'm running a bit late tonight, because I actually had to go and literally put cold compresses on them about 2 hours ago. And I went for a lie down to close my eyes, just to rest my eyes. And literally only woke up about 10 to 5 and my eyes felt great. But the minute I've started looking at the screen and everything again, now they're starting to feel sore. Anyway, that's a bit of a swerve, as they say. So under the magnifying glass, envelopes, and it will bring up anything I've done with envelopes. So I'll close that one down because we don't want that. We started off looking at here. So I'm just going to very quickly show you how to use this. Then we're going to go and have a look in Canvas Workspace how to make our own. Never seen this site before. Good evening, everyone. Don't worry, Janet. I'm literally only just getting going myself. Rita, Leslie, hi. Hope you're okay. I'm only just getting going myself. Don't worry. I think I'm going to have to go back on the doctor thing online and just see what they say, because they really are sore. I'm struggling at the moment with my eyes. Okay, right, let's get going. So I've come on here, Templatemaker.nl. I've come to envelopes. I think it was one of my subscribers that actually told us about this channel. So in here, the first thing I'm going to do is change it to inches, because that's what I work in. You know, if you work in centimeters or millimeters, you just use whatever you want to use. So let's just say we want to make an envelope for a 5x7 card. I can't remember whether this site builds in some ease or not. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put 7 in here just to start off with. And in height, I'm going to say 5 and hit enter. Overlap is this bit here that it kind of adds a bit on before it starts to go up to shape. I'm going to leave that as it is for now. I don't think you need it, but we'll see. Margin, I think, is something to do with your print options. So I'm just going to leave that. I'm not going to do anything. And then paper size, I'm going to choose A4. No, I'm not. I'm going to choose 12 by 12 for desktop cutting plotter. And then I'm going to come down here to SVG and I'm going to click create. Now that's going to drop that cutting file into my downloads folder. So I'm going to come to Canvas Workspace. I'm using the online one just because I'm online, for no other reason. You can use whichever one you want to use. I've already got a blank page which I opened just as I was coming live. I'm going to come up to the SVG icon, and then where it says choose file, I'm going to navigate to my downloads folder and find the 7x5 envelope I've just downloaded, and I'm going to say OK. It's saying some shapes could not be converted, error. I'm just going to click OK. Let me just see what you're saying. Caroline's saying, I'm a little discombobulated as my power just went off as I was connecting here. I know you're a regular. I just went to the eye doctor also for the same thing and he put me on drops. I sure hope it helps. Good luck to you. Yeah, Judy, the drops that they gave me, the eye drop cream from over the counter didn't work. I used it for about 2 weeks and it didn't work. And they ended up going to the doctors and they prescribed one that you can only get as a prescription. And as I said, the minute I started using that, my eyes started to feel better. So I was like really hopeful. And they told me to use the whole tube, which I did. I think it was twice a day. And they did get better and they stayed better for a few weeks. But yesterday, in fact, I think probably Friday I noticed they were starting to get sore again, and then they got sore yesterday and they're just getting worse again today. Anyway, right, let's come back to envelopes. You're not here to listen to my ailments. So here's the envelope that it's brought in. Now what I'm going to do, these are separate parts. So you've got the dash line and you've got the outline. So I'm just going to undo that. I'm just going to select both for now. Right click and make them a group just so that I can rotate it because I want to see if this middle section is exactly 5 by 7 or if they've built in a bit of ease. So I'm just going to come to basic shapes, grab a rectangle, and it's that long since I've used the online version, I can't remember where everything is. So I'm going to come to the little properties box. I'm going to untick maintain aspect ratio and do I put 5 in there first for the height and then 7? Let's see what we get. So this is now a 5 by 7 rectangle and that is literally the exact size. So if you made a 5 by 7 card, this is going to be a tight fit. Okay, so let's get rid, in fact, let's undo that so we can keep that. Let's get rid of the envelope. Let's quickly go back here and I'm going to make this 7.25 and the height 5.25. I'll leave everything else as it is. I'll choose create. It'll drop into my downloads folder again. I'll come back to Canvas. I'll go to SVG. I'll go to choose file. And here's my bigger one now, 7.25 by, I think I've put 52.5 inches. I think that's far too big. Let's do that again. Oh my word. Let's go back. Yeah, that should be 5.25, not 52 inches. So 5.25 by 7.25, create. Oh, dearie me. Right, back to Canvas Online, choose file. That's better. There's my 7.25 by 5.25. Say OK. Say OK again. Let's select everything, right click and group it. And let's rotate it, only so that the bit in the middle is just easier for me to get my rectangles. So here's my 5 by 7 card. So now, if you can see, there's a bit of ease built in to the envelope. So if you made this envelope in this website and you made it at 7.25 by 5.25, it would nicely fit a 5 by 7 envelope. Right, let's just catch up with what you're saying while I just give my eyes a Derek's saying, great, another new site. Oh, bless you, Derek. As I say, we have used this site before, but I can't remember when. Alison's just said, I knew one of you eagle-eyed people would spot that I did it wrong. But when I'm looking at the screen, I can't always see the comments. That's why I have to say, let me stop and go back and catch up. So yeah, I mistyped, you're right. And you all spotted it before me. It wouldn't be me without any mistakes. You're right there. There was a box called margin on the template page. Ah, right. Okay. Is that what that's for? Let's go back. Okay. Well, we'll try it and see. So we know for now, at the minute, I've put in 7.25 and I've put 5.25. and we've come to Canvas and we can see that that one fits fine. But before we had the margin on and it didn't work, did it? So let's just try it. So let's move everything off because I want to show you how you can do your own. So if we change that back to 7 and we change that back to 5 and then we come down where it says margin. I thought this margin, Vicky, was for the printing, but let's just try it and see. We'll put 0.25 in, which is 1/4 of an inch, isn't it? And we'll say create. And then let me see if I can find, I might have to delete one of them because I'm going to get a bit confused with which one's which now. Let me select all these. I'm just going to, oh no, I don't want to do that. Right, hang on a minute. Let me go to my downloads folder and delete some. I think it's that one, but I'm going to delete them all and then I'll know which one I've got. Okay, so we'll cancel that. We'll go back here. We've got a 7 by 5 and we've got a 0.25 margin. Okay, which I'm sure I had on the very first one and it didn't work. I think it's the margin on the paper, Vicky. I think it's the print margin, but we'll try it and see. So let's have a look at this. We'll go to create, right. We'll go back to Canvas Workspace. We'll go to the SVG icon. We'll go choose a file. I'll go to my downloads folder and the only one that I should have in there now is the one I've just downloaded. So we'll say okay. Okay. Let's group everything so that we can rotate it because in Canvas Online, you've got to group before you can rotate and then bring this one in. So yeah, so the margin that's in here is nothing to do with the margin to make the envelope bigger. So you would have to type, if you wanted a bit of room on a 5 by 7 card, you'd have to type, I would do 1/4 of an inch. So you'd have to type, say, 7.25 by 5.25. Okay, so that's that. So we know that the margin is nothing to do with building a margin in for your envelope. I think it is to do with printing. So now let's come to Canvas Workspace and let's kind of just look at the same principles. So I'm going to drag a rectangle on and I'm going to come to the properties box and I'm going to make it 5 by 7. So this is going to just represent my card. Doesn't matter what orientation your card is in. It's just if you made a card that was 5 by 7. And just to hopefully make it a little bit easier, I'm just going to put a colour on these things just so that you can see. So this kind of green rectangle on the screen is representing my card base of 5 by 7. So to make the envelope, we know we need to have a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm going to create a duplicate of this rectangle. And I've just, for anybody that's new, I've just right-clicked with this selected. I'm going to make a duplicate and then I'm going to change the colour. You don't have to put colour in these. I'm just doing it in the hope that you might see better what I'm doing. And again, this is just the way I am working it out. There could be a far easier way and you can work that out yourself. But if I show you my thought process, it might make it a little bit clearer, because I think one of the things that Alison asked about when she was asking about showing envelopes was possibly how to make bigger envelopes that you might have to cut in 2 separate pieces and maybe glue together, because obviously if you've only got a 12 by 12 mat or a 12 by 24 mat, you're restricted to the width that you can make anything. So the pink bit now is going to represent my wiggle room. Let's put it like that. So I'm going to come to the properties box. It doesn't matter whether I make it a cut or a draw line for this particular exercise. I will choose cut just for the sake of it. And I'm going to come down to the dashed lines and I'm just going to choose a dashed line. And I'm going to choose this one that's at the bottom because it's got more spaces in it, so less area of cut with the blade, if that makes sense. So this one here now, hopefully if I zoom in a little, you can see this has got a dashed edge, this one's got a solid edge. This is just a guide, this green bit. I'm going to get rid of it eventually. I need to come back down now. So I'm just going to position them together, select them both. I'm going to come to edit, center on the horizontal and center on the vertical. Then I'm just going to left click anywhere on the page to deselect. I've just moved that. So I'm just going to click on the pink one and under edit, I'm going to send it to the back. But before I do that, sorry, let's undo, let's go back a step. So I've got the duplicate, I've made it a cut line. I'm going to resize it. So while I'm still in here under cut line, sorry, I'll go over that again in a minute. It's a bit confusing, isn't it? I'm going to now make it 5.25 by 7.25. And because I've got maintain aspect ratio unticked, I can adjust these independently. Hi Anita, don't worry, it's fine. Elaine's saying wash them with warm water and salt. It helps with the itch. Okay, thank you. I'll try that later. Vicky's saying I found out the hard way that you can cut an envelope for 6 by 6 out of 12 by 12 paper if you put it on a 45-degree angle. Yeah. And the site that we did at the beginning obviously brings the envelope in on an angle, and that's to give you, you know, some more room. But you're going to get to a if you start to want to make bigger envelopes, it doesn't matter how much you rotate them, they're not going to fit within the 12-inch area. So let's just recap. I've got green rectangle with a solid outline, coloured green, and that's 5 by 7. That's just a guide. That's just going to help me just for this placement. I've duplicated that rectangle. I've changed the line around the outside to a dash line, and I'm making it, and I thought I'd done it, but I haven't, and I'm making this one 5.25 by 7.25. Okay, so 1/4 of an inch bigger. So now I'm going to select them both. I'm going to come to edit, align them on the center, align them on the horizontal, left click to deselect, and then just left click on the top one, come back to edit and send it to the bottom. So basically, the pink one with the black dash line is my wiggle room. Now I need to add my top folding flap and my bottom folding flap and my side flaps, okay? Again, this is all personal preference. The ones that I've cut that are on my other desk that I'm going to show you again in a bit when I swap over desks, because I'm going to try and cut some of these with you, all have a 1/2 inch flap on the left and the right side, okay? So as to not make this a little bit any more confusing that I think as I already am, I'm just going to bring another rectangle on. I'm going to come to the properties box. We know that the pink one is 5.25 high. So this one I'm going to make 5.25, and I want the width ½ inch either side wider than the orange one that's on my screen. So that's an extra inch, yeah? So if I make this 8.25 and say enter, just move that out of the way. And let's colour this in with a colour so that you can see it. And it doesn't matter whether this is going to get welded in a bit. So I can leave this as a solid line or a dash line, whatever. Let's just colour it with yellow. And again, I'm going to center everything. So I'm going to select all three, go edit, center on the horizontal, center on the vertical, click away to deselect. Vicky, yeah, 5.25 by 8.25. I'm going to select the yellow one, come to edit and send it to the back. So these yellow bits here will become my flaps. Now, like I say, you could probably do this just by using rectangles, long rectangle on the vertical and a long rectangle on the horizontal, and position them and work it out. But if I show you a kind of step-by-step process, you can then work your own shortcuts out. So I'm just going to select everything and kind of bring it roughly into the middle of my page. So Rachel's saying, does anyone know an SVG converter for an Android tablet? What do you mean, Rachel? Do you want to convert something to SVG, or you want to convert an SVG to something else? I'm not sure what you mean. Hi, Thea. So Thea's saying, missed most of this today. Had a lovely FaceTime with our great-grandson. We'll watch later. Oh, bless you. That's really lovely. I'm glad you had some nice family time. This should be being recorded, so hopefully you can come back and watch. Right, I want to build some flaps. So remembering that the pink one is the one with the wiggle room, okay? That's the one we're going to be using. The green one was just my guide. In fact, I could select that and move it out of the way for now. So I'm going to select my pink one. I'm going to right click and make a duplicate of it. And I'm going to change it to yellow in the hope that this may make some kind of sense in a minute. So this now is going to become the flap on the bottom of the envelope and the flap on the top of the envelope. Right, I can see it going up. So let me just see, because I'm reading the comments on my phone and all of a sudden it catches my eye. So Vicky's saying, showing the base rectangle makes the math easier. You are showing us how to build it in any set. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to show. You know, anybody can use that template website and put in some figures and produce an envelope, which is great if you're in a rush. But if you actually want to know how to physically make them, then this is a way. I'm not saying it's the only way. I'm not saying it's the right or wrong way, but it is a way. And if you see me make it, then why am I getting messages about my earpods? Hopefully it'll make sense and then you can work your own shortcuts out. Just had to run outside for a view of a triple rainbow. Wow. Sorry, my dinner's ready. We'll watch the rest on replay. You're welcome, Karen. I always come at the wrong time for your dinner, don't I? Never mind, not to worry. Right, so let's come back to our flaps. So This yellow middle section now is effectively the middle. If you think of an envelope, it has a top, middle, and bottom. Yeah, it has a top flap, a middle section where your letter or your envelope goes, and a bottom flap. So Alison's saying this is great. Thank you, Ashley. Oh, good. Glad you're finding it helpful. So we need to add our top and middle flap. No, our top and bottom flap. And your flaps need to be the same size as your middle section, not the size of your flaps. If your top flap was the whole width of this yellow section, you'd end up cutting these skinny rectangles from 4 corners. So that's why I've made this the same size as my pink bit that's my wiggle room. So I'm hoping this all makes sense. Don't worry, Dawn. Okay, I think Alison is answering Rachel's question. So you don't want your flaps full size, because if you look at an envelope invariably, so let's imagine that, let's put our card back in. So this is our nice card in the green. In our envelope, we've got our wiggle room built in. Your flaps don't necessarily cover, like your bottom flap of your envelope doesn't necessarily cover your complete card, and your top flap when folded down doesn't. You generally have kind of something that looks, maybe it can be, you know, just over halfway on the bottom, and then you have a flap that overlaps this. Sometimes they're a bit higher up. This is up to you. You choose this however you want. I'm doing this by eye, so I'm just going to move my card out of the way. I'm going to bring this one in, and I'm going to say that I just need to move that back down again now. So there's the middle of my card. You can see the circle there. Sorry, the middle of my middle flap. So this one I'm going to put just above middle, okay? I'm going to line it all up again in a minute, so I'm not too worried about it being perfectly placed. I'm going to shrink this one down now so it comes to the bottom of the yellow back section with my flaps on. I'm going to right click and make a duplicate, and I'm going to bring it up. Now I'm just going to colour this one in a different colour, so hopefully you'll, oh, I already had my colour palette open, didn't I? Let's just do this in red for now. So if I put my red at the top here, you can see how much it overlaps this bottom flap. Again, this is all personal preference. And the bigger you start making your envelopes, you might want to start pinching, you know, inches here, so to speak. So I'm just going to make this one so it kind of overlaps, maybe, I don't know, half an inch, something like that. Okay, so this is going to go on the top. This is going to go on the bottom. I'm just going to move my dash lines out of the way. I'm going to select all three. I'm going to go to edit and align them on the, I always get it wrong. Is it that one? No, see, told you I always get it wrong. So we'll undo that. Select all three, edit, align them on the center. So these three elements are all lined up together now. Now I'm going to take the fill out of them, just in the hope that you can see this better. So I've got all three selected, edit, I've got them all aligned centrally. Now what I'm going to do, they need to overlap, maybe an inch. Okay, so on the ones I made, I think they overlap anything between half an inch and an inch, but we'll have a look at them when I swap over desks. Now, it doesn't matter that these two flaps have got dash lines on, but I'm going to change them just in the hope that you'll see it better on my screen. So I've got three rectangles that are all lined up together, and now I want to weld them. And earlier on, when I said you could probably make this with a vertical rectangle and a horizontal rectangle, this is what I meant. If you imagine that this bit here all the way through is one long rectangle, and then you put another rectangle across it and weld, you're going to get the same effect. But I want to show you how to make your cards for any size without having to kind of guess, if that makes sense. So I'm going to choose my top little rectangle, and I'm just going to use the arrows on my keyboard. I'm going to zoom in on this section, get rid of that in the hope that you can see it. So I've got my top rectangle selected, and I'm just going to bring it down so it overlaps this middle one. Then I'm going to choose the bottom one, and I'm just going to use the little up arrows on my keyboard and bring that one until it overlaps. I don't want it to overlap a lot, because I don't want it, because remember, this one in the middle is the one with my 1/4 inch wiggle room. So I don't want it to encroach too much, but I want it to overlap enough that it'll weld. Right, so let's just see what you're saying. So Vicky's saying, how about one rectangle 5.25 plus 5.25 plus 1 inch equals 11.5? Yeah, like I say, you can do there, you can do it by just choosing rectangles, so long as you know what size your two rectangles need to be when you position them on the horizontal and vertical. But this way, I'm just showing you my thought process, and then you should get a visual idea of what I'm talking about, and then you can work out yourself. So these look as though they're overlapped now. So I'm just going to come back. So I'm going to select everything. I'm just going to come back to edit and just make sure that when I was overlapping them, I didn't, move them. So they're all centered on the vertical and they all overlap. I'm now going to, and they're all selected. So I'm now going to come to edit and weld. And if you've overlapped them enough, they will weld together like this. As I said, you don't want to overlap them too much because you don't want to encroach into this area here, which is the wiggle room. So this is now 11.27 high by 8.25 wide. And this is basically the outline of our envelope. If I bring this back in and put it in the middle, and let's just take the colour out of this one now, because this was our wiggle room, remember, and we want fold lines. So these are the fold lines. So now if I select them both, hopefully, if I do edit, align, center and middle, the fold lines should line up centrally. And for some reason, when I was having a play with this yesterday, they didn't. So I'm going to send this one to the back, bring my dash line to the top, and I'm just going to zoom in, and I'm going to deselect my magnifying glass. And if I just bring this up so that the dot in the corner of my dashed section in the middle is in this corner, can you see? If I move it right into the corner, this should line up my dash lines. So if I scoot along, everything should line up. And if it doesn't, see, like here, the bit at the bottom now, I'm going to move it up a little bit. So let's zoom back out. So that effectively now is a very simple envelope that should fit my 5x7 card with the wiggle room. Now I know it's not the same shape as this. You can play about with that yourselves, and instead of using rectangles, there is a shape here that you could, maybe manipulate if you want more of a fancy shape. But I'm just doing it with very simple rectangles at the moment. Now, one thing I would say is I found, let me just move my imaginary card out of the way, excuse me. I found when I was folding this up that it was better if you angle the corners. to make it fold nicer, because if you leave them exactly flat, like here on the top of your flaps, if you like, they can get a bit creased. So let's select the main section of the card. I'll look at your comments in a minute. Don't know if there is any. And I'm just going to left click again to get the nodes. And basically what I'm going to do, this far right hand top node of the flap, I'm going to drag it down just slightly. Then I'm going to select this one, drag this one down a bit. And again, if you want to do the bottom ones, you only want to do this ever so slightly. It doesn't need to be a lot. And you don't want to, move them too much, because you don't want to make your lines, the cut lines on your flaps. You want to try and keep them nice and straight. So let's get rid of that for now. So that's my very simple card. And if I've done it right, I'm going to send this over to the machine and we're going to cut it and we're going to see if it fits. So let's just see what's being said. I just love your teaching, Joanne's saying. Leslie's saying your way explains it very well, to let us use the process to create our own sizes. Yeah, and then hopefully I'm going to come back to this screen after we've cut this envelope and kind of do the same process, but make one that's bigger that we cut in two parts, because I think that was one of the things that Alison asked about. So Jenny's saying, I get it now. That's great. Well, that's good. Anita's saying this is helpful. Rachel's saying already done. Already done what? Oh, thumbs up. Oh, thank you. Good shout, Alison. Being away for a time out of habit. Oh, thanks, Alison. Me too, Rachel. Oh, wow. I see an envelope. Brilliant. Right. So I'm going to get rid of that off my page for now. So I'm going to select everything, right click and make it a group just for now. I'm going to go download and I'm going to go ScanNCut transfer and send it over to the machine. And also one other thing I just want to say, if you look at this one here, you've got the pointy flaps on all four corners, and obviously that's what takes up a lot of your room. Doing it this way with simple side flaps gives you a little bit more to play with on your mat. So I hope that makes sense. Right, what do we need to do now? I'm going to leave this one here. I've sent it over, haven't I? Right, what's Maria saying? Followed along was good. Oh, brilliant. What did you make it, Maria, on the screen? And this doesn't have to be obviously a 5x7 envelope. The envelopes that are on the desk, which I'll show you in a minute, I did a square one and I made it, I made my wiggle room, if you like, 5.25 by 5.25 to take a 5x5 card. But I'm going to try and do something bigger, and I've not done a prototype and I've not practiced it. So we're going to do it together and see if it works. So I'm going to flip you over to my desk and just bring all my belongings over with me. So just bear with for a minute. And let me just see. I just need to bring my drink and everything else with me. And let me see, without cutting us all off, what people are saying. Followed along as it was good. The reason the dashes did not line up in the centre correctly was because the top flap is shorter than the bottom. Good thinking. I knew somebody would have the reason. Thanks, Corinne. Yeah, you're right, actually, thinking about it now, because when I was messing about with it originally, I did my flaps the same size and then everything lined up. So that does make sense. You're right, because it's not a perfect equal, it's not in perfect equal chunks, is it? Yeah, I understand that now. That's brilliant. Thank you. Um, and Maria's saying yes, came out like yours. Oh, great. Right. So on my desk here, let's have a look. You're not even seeing my desk, are you? Are you seeing my desk? Can somebody tell me, are you seeing my desk? I think you should be. I'm going to go back to it in a minute, Terry. Oh dear. Looks like you can make a 5x9 on one piece. Yeah, probably that's what I'm saying, because you're using like the skinny flaps, you've got more room in your width. That site obviously uses like pointy flaps on all four sides. Doing it this way, everyone's saying yes, you can see. Right, okay. So these are my first two. So this is the yellow one, is literally exactly what I've just shown you how to make. You're all saying yes, desk screen. Oh, thank you. So this is exactly what I've just shown you how to do in Canvas, with, you know, rectangles for the top and the bottom flaps, and your skinny 1/2 inch flaps on the side, and I've glued it together. But I'm going to do another one so you can see it. But let me just find my 5x7 card. So let's just move this grid paper, because although it's a grid paper, it doesn't have sizes on it. I'm just going to bring my little mat in the hope that you can see this better. So this card is just a card that I made ages ago. You can see it's 7x5. So this card should fit in this envelope, because we built in the wiggle room. Okay, so if I fold the flap down, you can see there's a bit of wiggle room there, and there's a tiny bit on either side. So that goes together. You can see my flap overlaps my base flap. And then you could either put a sticker on it, you know, that we made in Canva last week, and seal it with a sticker, or you could put some adhesive on it and stick it down, and that's your envelope. So that's that one. This one, the blue one, which is blending into my desk now. Oh dear, let me bring my grid paper back in. There you go, you should be able to see that better now. So my blue one, can you see the sides are slightly angled, and the bottom is slightly angled? And literally all as I did with this one, when I had this on my canvas mat and I showed you how to angle out those corners for your flaps, I did exactly the same with the top and the bottom flap. Now, one thing I would just say is, because you've only got a 1/2 inch flap here, just be careful how much you angle these in, because I'm not sure how well you'll see it. Try and put it down. Let me see if I can just zoom you in. Trying to get you as close as I can. Okay, so can you see that? So here I angled in the bottom and top flaps, but because I've only got a 1/2 inch flap which is my glue flap, and it also acts as holding my card in the envelope, I brought this in a little bit too much. It's still on the flap, but don't bring them in too much. That's all I'm trying to say. If you want a little bit of shape to your envelope, the top flap's fine, because it's got the bottom flap to overlap. but your bottom flap, it's all flaps tonight, isn't it? Your bottom flap needs to still be able to stick to your side 1/2 inch flaps. So you could make your flaps bigger if you want. You could make these 3/4 of an inch. You know, it's entirely up to you. Like I say, I'm just kind of showing you, this was my thought process of how to show you. I think I've in another video I've shown how to make envelopes, and I think I basically did it by choosing a rectangle and another rectangle and welding them together. But because I want to show you how to make a bigger one that we're going to cut in 2 elements, I wanted to show you how to do it in sections in the hope that it might make it easier to understand. So that was my first one. Let's zoom you back out a little bit. So that was my first one with just, you know, rectangular flaps. That was my second one with slightly angled flaps. And this is the one I did just using straight rectangles again. Same size flap, but this is for a 5x5 card because this is 5.25 by 5.25. Okay, so has anybody got any questions while I just to show you that it does work, there's my 5x7 card again going into my envelope. And let me just have a look on my board and see if I've got anything that might be anywhere near 5x5. I don't know if our little teacup, this one is just under 5 inches tall by 5 inches wide. So this one should go in as well. So our little teacup card that we made in Canva has got, you know, or could have its own custom built envelope. Right, let's just see what you're saying. I'm going to bring in my mats. And because I'm cutting these in paper, let's move that one out of the way. I'm just going to use my low tack mat because that's all I used on the other one. So hopefully it's still got enough sticky in it. Right, thank you. We'll have a try, Lisa's saying. Make the envelope and use all the redundant fancy border dies on the flap. Yeah, anything at all. I'm just giving you like the basics, and then it's up to you lot to, you know, do whatever you want to do with it. Rachel, you are so clever. Wish I had your time. No, I'm not. Basically, what I learned a long time ago when I got my craft robo was you start to look at things as shapes. So you see something, you know, that somebody's made or in a shop or something like that, and you think, I'm sure I could make that with my craft robo or my puzzles or my ScanNCut. But you kind of have to learn to look at it as a shape, or what shapes could possibly be used once welded together to make that, whatever it is you've seen. Does that make sense? And that's all it is, it's shapes. If you go back on my channel ages and years ago, I can't even remember how long ago, I did, I think I did, I've made things just using basic shapes. I showed you like how to make an ice cream cone, I think, from a rectangle and a circle, and how to make a flower from an oval and things like that. It's just shapes. Everything is a shape at the end of the day. We might not be always able to make them all, but think of it as shapes and what shapes can go together to give you another shape. Barbara's saying the beauty of this is that you can make special envelopes to match your cards exactly. Vicky's saying the side flaps could be bigger if cutting them from 12 by 12. Yeah, I just used 1/2 inch, Vicky, on my like prototypes, and that's what I'm saying. You could make them bigger if you're using kind of like rectangles as your shapes, because as you saw in Canvas Workspace, just by using the 1/2 inch flaps, we had more room on our 12 by 12. So just play about with it. Mandy G is saying you could weld one of the borders in Canvas Workspace to the top flap. That would, yeah, exactly. See, you're all thinking about it now, aren't you? I'm giving you like the rough ideas, and this is brilliant because this is what you need to do. Right, what's Alice saying? Do you think a die cutting machine is a good complement to the ScanNCut? I do, Alice. Yeah, I think I've got two now. I've got my Snap. It's called a Snap machine, which is basically, it's just like a Cuttlebug or a Big Shot or whatever else. But you put it. Is it like the Gemini? You put your sandwich together. You put it in. And you press a button and it goes through. You don't have to crank it through. But I earned some Stampin' Up rewards recently, and I was able to get the I could have got the big one, their new embossing machine. I could have got that for 50% off, but I didn't need it. But I got the small one. So I've got the new Stampin' Up small one, which you hand crank, it's got a handle on it. And then I've got like a full size electronic one. But I do think they are, because I honestly don't think there's anything better than a manual or electric die cutting machine for embossing. I just don't think anything can compare to it. So I've started buying embossing folders. So yeah. Anyway, don't give me an excuse to go off topic. Anita saying brilliant. Love your papers. Where are they from? Okay, so the papers that I've just shown you, the blue and the yellow one, I can't begin to tell you how long I've had these papers. Literally, probably when I first started crafting. Literally, when Hannah was probably about, I don't know, 2 or 3, and she's 19 this year. I think they were like, is it Do Crafts or something like that? I think they came in a pack. The Czech one, I've absolutely no idea where I got that from. But the ones I'm going to use today are from McKay & Company pad, which I know some of you have got because I've used this pad before and some of you have told me. So I've got this big old K & Company scrapbook pad. Again, had this years, and I'm just going to, pick a piece out of here and cut an envelope. So let's turn this round. We'll just go with the top one for now. So like pale blue colour. Vicky's saying they all have their places. Yeah, you're right, they do. I love to watch you construct files. I always break into many shapes. Yeah, definitely. It's all about shapes. We'll go and look at your site to watch those videos. Oh, Rachel, they'll be on there somewhere. In fact, if you do what I showed at the beginning, go to the main homepage and in the magnifying thing, just type shapes and they'll probably come up. I've done quite a few over the years. Lisa's saying, so love this, makes me want to start making all my cards and envelopes. Leslie's saying, I have 6 die cutting machines, a wall full of dies on magnetic sheets. Oh my dear. And you've got your ScanNCut as well. Brilliant. I like the idea of label as you did last week to close the envelopes. Yeah, definitely. Alice is saying, thank you for your truth. Oh, yeah. Well, I've told you before, I only buy things that I use. I don't buy stuff that, especially Stampin' Up stuff. I won't buy it if I don't like it, and I won't buy it just for the sake of demoing it to get sales. Everything I buy is because I like it and I want to use it. Right, let's see what's going on. Hi, JD Cougar. Right, let's crack on. Let's come back. So we've got paper. Let me zoom back out a bit. You're a bit too zoomed in there, aren't you? So I've got low tack mat, which hopefully is going to be tacky enough to do this. I've got my piece of paper that I've just taken out of the pad, and the white strap bit on the bottom. I'm not going to bother cutting that off. I'll just put it at the bottom of the mat because this pattern, I don't think it's going to matter about the direction on the envelope. So let's wake up my ScanNCut machine because it's gone to sleep. Flip you over to the machine. Right, what we're saying, Vicky, they were all collected over many years. Oh, is that all your die cut machines? Right, so I'm going to load this mat into the ScanNCut machine. I might have to just move this pad because it might just get in the way, so just give me a minute. Oh, I think my batteries, hang on, these phones I use are literally on the last legs. So I'd plugged this one in, I'd not switched it on, which is clever, isn't it? Right, let's see if you can see this better. So you should now be looking at my ScanNCut screen. Just going to get my spatula and my stylus. So Alison is saying, have started designing my own paper on Craft Artist. The only downfall, they can only be printed on A4. Okay. Well, that's good though, isn't it? At least you're designing your own things. So that's nice. Right, let's go. Retrieve data. We sent it over from Canvas. There it is. I'm going to save it into the machine just for now. When it's saved, I'm going to do a background scan. So I'm going to say OK, and then I'm just going to do a background scan and press start and send this mat into the machine. I know you can't see it. I'll move the camera in a minute when it starts cutting. I don't want to keep moving you backwards and forwards because I know some people get motion sickness. So let's try and zoom you in a little bit. I'm not moving the camera, I just want to move the screen in. So there's my envelope. I can see my piece of paper and it all looks fine. So I'm just going to say, OK, select and cut. And if this mat is sticky enough, just move you down and start. It should cut for us. And then if I've not messed up, hopefully we'll get an envelope that's the right size. Right, it's just doing the dash lines now. So let me just catch up with what you're saying. Barbara's saying that sounds interesting, Alison. And Lynn is saying a 12 by 12 Eco Tank printer is on my wish list. I've heard of them, but is the Eco Tank the one where you like fill it up with inks? I'm not really sure. Maybe you can tell me, Lynn. Are they expensive? So Vicky's saying, Alison Morgan, do you print yourself or have it printed? Very therapeutic, someone else is saying. Right, let's unload this mat. Bring you back to my desk. Peel away the paper. I just need to bend the mat a bit to get this loose. So there should be, hopefully, my envelope. Let me just find my bone folder. Right. Can you all see? See if I can get you in a little bit more. So now if I turn this over, we should have our fold lines. Which are the ones that are not always easy for me to see. So we've got our dash lines, top and bottom. And can you see what I mean? By angling in these little flaps a little bit at the top and the bottom, when you fold these over, these don't kind of get crushed and bent because you've angled them in out of the way of the fold. So that's my bottom flap, that's my top flap, and that's my envelope. So I'm just going to glue it together and then we'll see if it's the right size. So Alison's saying, I print it myself, can't afford to have it printed. I think cutting an envelope a little bigger is a sure way the card will fit. Yeah, you're building in a little bit of wiggle room. And, you know, I only used 1/4 of an inch. You build in whatever you want. You know, if you want a 1/2 an inch wiggle room, do that. As I said, I'm just giving you the rough idea. So I'm just going to apply a little tiny bit of wet glue just on the edge of these 2 flaps. You don't want a lot because you don't want it pouring out, and you only want it literally right on the edge because you've only got a 1/2 an inch width here to play with. So if you fold it up and then press it down from the bottom, just, you know, smooth it out to help your adhesive grab. Use whatever adhesive suits you, you know, whether that's a dry adhesive, glue dots, a tape runner, whatever it is. I tend to like to use the wet glue for like things like this. I think it just holds it together better. Because at the end of the day, if you use glue dots or a dry glue and it's not, you know, really sticky, you don't want your envelope coming apart in the post, do you? So that's why I use my wet glue. So Vicky's saying, I was thinking that the price of ink would make it expensive, but it makes sense when you are making a set of items. Only problem, I'd need a second mortgage. Oh, blimey, are they that expensive? Wow. So here's the envelope. Let's find our card. So back to my good old 5x7 card. In there, fastens up, sticker on, job done. Okay. Has anybody got any questions so far? Because I want to go back to the canvas screen and try and make a bigger one that I want to try and cut in 2 halves. Don't know whether it's going to work or not, but we'll see. Vicky's saying, I just signed up for the HP Instant Ink that we were talking about last week. That would make printing it myself less expensive. Yeah, it does. I must admit, now I do the HP Instant Ink, I don't have a problem with people churning stuff out of the printer at home. I used to always shout at my husband because he can't text and he can't use a computer properly. And he literally will sit and he'll see something on the internet and he knows where the print icon is on his, because he has a Windows computer. Hannah and I both use Macs, and he'll print and and it's in my office and stuff starts churning out of my printer that is literally just printed from a website, and it's like the whole website's being printed, you know, for like one tiny little thing, and like 50 pages come spewing out of my printer, and I shout at him. I mean, I still do shout at him now, but I don't feel as bad now because I pay for the instant ink. Right, let me see what you're saying. I use HP Instant Ink and it works out a lot cheaper. Yeah, we've got that. If not wet glue, use red liner tape. Yeah, that's nice and strong. Yeah, something that you know isn't going to fall apart in the post, basically. Oh, excuse me. So Alison's saying, well done, Ashley. Thank you. Cool. This is great. Thank you. Wow, love it. Eco tanks are much, much cheaper than the instant ink. Okay. I have Eco Tank, costs £276, great printer. Okay, so just before I go back to Canvas, can I just ask then, are all these Eco Tank things a 12x12 printer, or are they just a regular, you know, that you print A4 on, but somehow it works out cheaper because of the ink or something? I never really looked into it. Right, hopefully I can get crafting sometime this week. Just had a new bathroom and kitchen fitted. Oh, that sounds nice though, Rachel. I know what you mean though, because we built this house that we live in, and we built the previous house, and it is a nightmare when you're doing work, dust and rubbish and stuff everywhere, but it's nice when it's done. Right, Ellen's saying, thanks, Ashley, that's fab. HP Instant Ink is excellent. Rita's saying, I have an old Epson stylus. The colours are fantastic. Ink's very cheap. I have an eco tank. Right, okay, so let's go back to, where am I going? We're going back to Canvas. Oh, regular A4 printer. Right, let me flip you back to Canvas and swap desks again. And let's see what we can do now. I'm going to bring my drink back with me. Bring my phone so I can read all your comments. 40 euros of ink lasts me for months. I have the card, so we'll have to get it from there when my Canon runs out. EcoTank printers print up to A3. Never heard of EcoTank. I've heard of it, but kind of never really understood what it was, if that, you know. My EcoTank is A4 only. And then Chris is saying yours is A4 only as well. Right. Can you just tell me that you can see my Canvas Workspace page now? Because it looks as though you can, but I'd just like to double check. So from here now, if you can see my Canvas Workspace screen, obviously this, I did I group it? Yeah, I've already grouped it. It's on my page, it's fine. It you know, it's sitting within the red marks. You would come up here and save it into your projects. So where it says project title, I'm just going to put 5. I don't know if it'll let me. Does it let you do 5x7 envelope and save? Does it let you do? Yeah, it does. Saving is complete. Okay. Can see. Brilliant. Thanks, Terry and Rachel. So I've got that one saved now. So I can delete it. I don't need it. Canvas Workspace, yes, you can all see it, right? Brilliant. So what I'm thinking now is, you're all saying yes, great. So now I'm thinking, could we make one for, say, let's think, could we make one maybe for an 8x8 card? So using the same principles, I'm going to try and make one bigger, but that is going to have to cut in 2 pieces. Because if you've not got a 12x24 mat and you want to make something big, you're going to have to find a way to cut it in 2 separate pieces. If you've got a 12x24 mat, then let me think about this. If we wanted to make an 8x8 card, you did, Alison D saying 8x8, yeah, okay, well that's what we'll do. If you've got a 12x24 mat, then you don't need to cut it in 2 pieces, because you should be able to get it on a 12x24 mat. If you've only got a 12x12 mat like me at the moment, because I keep forgetting, I want to get a 12x24 mat and I keep forgetting to get one, you'd need to be able to cut it in 2 separate pieces, because otherwise it's not going to fit on. So let's come back to, let's just work our way through this, because like I say, I've not tried this. I don't know. This could be an epic fail. So Alison D is saying yes, 8x8, and Alison Morgan saying I make a lot of 8x8. Okay, well, we'll do 8x8. So I've grabbed a square. Let's go and make this 8x8. So this is going to represent my card. So I'm just going to do the filling in of colour again, just because I think sometimes you can't always see the lines properly on my screen. Rachel's saying she likes using 8x8 as well. Okay, so that's a good choice then. So this square here is exactly 8x8. This is going to represent my card. So we're going to do the same thing. So let's right click and create a duplicate. Let's make the duplicate this brownie colour, and we're going to build in the wiggle room again. So 1/4 of an inch is probably fine. So we could do 8.25 by 8.25. So this is our wiggle room. And the wiggle room, I'm going to make the dash line. And again, I'm just going to use this one at the bottom because the dashes, I know the dashes are bigger than some of these up here, but they're further apart. So for me, you've got more paper. So I'm kind of thinking that it might not be prone to ripping as much if you've got more paper holding your dashes together. So Alison Morgan saying, got a 12 by 24 mat, patiently waiting to be used. Okay, well, if you've got a 12 by 24 mat, use what I'm going to show now, but just cut it on a 12 by 24 mat. But if you've not, I'm going to try and see if we can cut it in 2 separate bits and glue it together. So this is now 8.25 by 8.25. I've put a dash line around the outside, and I'm going to use this as my wiggle room. Okay, so I'm going to select both. I'm going to go to edit, align them both on the center horizontally, align them both on the center vertically. I'm going to click away to deselect, and then I'm just going to left click on the top one again, trying not to move it. And I'm going to go to, I'll keep going to premium. I mean, I want this one underneath the properties box. Got to have something selected first, Ashley, that would help. And I don't know if I move that, so I'm just going to undo. Right, so I'm selecting this, properties, and no, I don't want properties. Do I want edit? Dearie me, send it to the back. Okay, right, let me just see, because could we click aspect ratio? Yeah, probably. Yes, on a square. Sorry, I just realised what you said. Yes, you could. Mine's just unticked because I was using the odd size from before. So yes, sorry, you could. So the pink section is going to represent my 8x8 card. The brown bit behind is my wiggle room. So now I need to put my flaps in. So let's choose the brown bit, do right click and duplicate. Although I've not got the brown bit, so right click, duplicate. So again, we want our flaps. So we need to add an inch, so 1/2 an inch on either side. I'm going to stick with 1/2 an inch. You can play around with this and do, whatever you want. So for this bit, Alison, you would need to untick main aspect ratio because you want the height to stay the same size, 8.25, but you want the width to be 9.25 because that is building and a 1/2 an inch flap on either side. So again, let's just change the colour. We'll make it yellow. So we should have, and you see we've got like the overhang. So again, if we right click and send it to the back, select everything, edit on the center, edit on the horizontal. That's the flaps now. Alison Morgan saying time for chilled jingle juice. Could you sometime make a box envelope? Yeah, it's the same principle, Leslie. What you would do, your box that we've got here at 8.25, you'd make another one as another wiggle room. In fact, if we get time, I'll try and show you how to do it. I might not have time to cut it. So, right, so the pink bit on the top is my card. I'm going to move that out of the way. So we've got the bit in the middle is the dash fold lines, which have got the wiggle room built in, and we've got the flaps on the side. So again, we need to add flaps top and bottom, but this is where this wouldn't fit on an 8x8 mat. So I'm going to choose the yellow rectangle and right click and make a duplicate. So again, if we work on the same principles, that we're going to come to say just above halfway. So I'm going to position this kind of about here, drag up the bottom till it lines up roughly with the bottom here. So you can see that this one now is just under 5.5 inches high. In fact, we can make it, if we can get it to do exact, we can make it 5.5 inches high. Then I want to duplicate this because I need a top flap, but my top flap I want to make narrower. So we'll go with, let's see, what should we do? Can we do 4? Right, so we'll make our top flap 4 inches deep, and our bottom flap is going to be 5.5. So the overlap in the middle, you can see here kind of where the overlap. Yes, please, yeah. Oh, my late again, we'll catch later. Lynn's saying, can I ask why you're using Canvas Online tonight for any reason? Just because it's the one I always go to, Lynn. You could do it in the download version. It's just kind of like my go-to, really. I tend to only use the download if I need to use like the X and Y coordinates, and don't really need to use them on this because basically this is just using align and weld. So if it's, you know, if I don't particularly need the layers and I don't particularly need to use the X and Y coordinates, then I use the online version. So Alison saying, guys, jingle juice is my pet word for my 2 a wheat lager. I guessed it must be some kind of nice beverage, Alison. I'm getting it, knowing your next steps out loud. Thanks. Brilliant. Yay. Right, so I'm going to weld the top flap, but I can't weld the bottom flap because it's bigger than the length of my mat. So I'm just going to put this on one side for now. But remember, if we're going to have to glue this together, we need a way of gluing this bottom flap to the middle bit of our card. Now we know that this is going to be roughly the right size as a flap, so we need to extend it for a gluing area. And again, how much you extend it is entirely up to you. If you want to make the glue area as big as the whole of the middle section of your envelope, you're going to have to add another big square on, which I think is going to take it again out of the parameters of your mat. So what I would do is I'm going to position this because this is roughly where I know the flap's going to be, but I want to glue it to the base. So I'm going to drag it up. So at the moment we've got 5.5. So let's say we give ourselves 1.5 inches as a glue. So 5.5 and 1.5 inches is going to take us up to 7. So if we make this 7, in height, and I'm just going to put it on one side because I want to put a fold line on it in a minute. So I'm going to move my center dash line out of the way, select my 2 middle bits, make sure that they're aligned on the center. I'm going to take the color out so that you can see better. I'll make them both a solid line so that hopefully you can see it better on the screen. And again, we need to overlap these and weld them. So I'm just going to choose one of them. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to use the arrows on my keyboard. I'm choosing the top one. And just using the directional arrows on my keyboard, I'm going to bring it down just a tiny little bit, just so it overlaps. And I'll zoom in for you in the hope that you can see. So can you see I'm moving it down now, just using the directional arrows on my keyboard. I don't want to come too far down because I don't want to eat into my wiggle room again, but I want it enough that they're overlapped. So let me zoom back out. Let me close this down. Got that many things going on my mat. So now if I select both of these and do edit and weld, they've now welded together. And if I bring in my wiggle room and select, effectively I've got my top flap and my middle flap. I know this one's looking a bit odd. I'm going to select them both. I'm going to come to edit, align the center together, and then I want to align them on the bottom. So that's effectively what one half of my envelope is going to look like. Is everybody with me so far? So when this flap folds down, it's going to fold down here. This is going to be the dash line. I mean, I could technically, because I am cutting this as two separate bits, I could literally draw just 3 path lines in as a dash line. But I'm going to leave it for now. I'm not bothered that it's going to do a dash line down here. It's going to be glued over. Right, let's just see what you're saying. Your top and bottom flaps are too wide. You're right, they are. Thank you. Yeah, they are. Let me, oh, got the wrong one now. Let me just try and get my yellow one out of the way. Let's move this to the bottom. Right, let's get my yellow one in. So I'll do that in a minute. So let's just see where we're up to, because I can see things going up and up on the screen and I'm not reading. Your top and bottom flaps are too wide. Run will do. Ashley, you need the brown width for the flaps. Alison D, I see wrong size flap pieces. Okay, right. So this one, I'll change now. Yeah, you're right. I'd got that wrong. So this one needs to be 8.25 wide. So let's go to properties. Let's take this back to 8.25. Okay. So that should be right now. Yeah, we're right. Okay, we're all okay. So let's take the colour out of here. So this bit is basically 2/3 of the envelope, isn't it? So we've got the flap and we've got the area where our card would go. So far, so good. Can you believe the UK pubs open tomorrow? Will it fit on the mat? Yeah, hopefully it will. So let's have a look. So I'm going to select both of these. And you're right, it's not going to fit. So this is where now I'm going to group it. I'm going to rotate it and see if it fits. And if not, this is where, you know, when I said right at the beginning of when I started, you may have to adjust. I said you may have to pinch inches. This is where you may have to pinch inches on your flaps. So Have I grouped it? Yeah, I've grouped it. So let's see if we can rotate it and see if it's not going to fit. So I'm going to go undo, 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 undo. I'm going to keep going back until I get my flaps separate. And I'm going to have to change the size of my yellow ones again. Right, okay, so what we want, let's drag this down. We want to be able to cut it, as Barbara has pointed out. So we need to pinch a bit of wiggle room here on our flap. So let's select the flap, bring it down so it comes onto the mat. So it's just literally just going to fit. So if we weld that together, I'm not going to do it yet because I want to bring in, here's my card. Let's bring in, hang on. Yeah, let's bring in, this is going to sit down here. This one we know we need to make 8.25 and select enter. And then I'm going to bring this in and see if we can, let's see how we're going to do it. Like I say, I've not done this, so I'm literally just working my way. Top flap's too wide as well, yeah. So we'll change that to 8.25. I'm just trying to see if we can do it by gluing it together, basically. So just trying to work out while we're all together, how are we going to do it and still make sure that our card is going to fit. So let's just see what we're saying. Corinne's saying you need to sort the top flap out. You will have fold overs at the, yeah, I know. I've not got there yet. I'm trying to work out how to make this all fit. So let me fill this back with colour, because when it's in a colour, I can see it better. So if that is the top flap and this is the bottom flap, this bottom flap's got our glue bit included, which I could make a bit less. So instead of making that 7, let's make that 6.5. Like I say, we're just trying this. I don't know whether it's going to work. I'm just trying to thinking out loud, and you guys are all helping me. So we've got an overlap there, but remember, see, it's not going to work, is it? Because that, let's think. We need some of this to be glued, but we want that to still overlap. So, oh yeah, it's still going to work. So we need to put a fold line down here. Right, let me draw in the fold line on this one first. I'm going to choose the path icon, and you can see the bottom of my envelope here. I'm going to left click, if it will let me do it. Let me take the colour out of this one. Sorry, we'll get there in the end. Wrong icon, isn't it? It's that one. So I'm going to, let's put a fold line in. Hold my shift key down so I get a straight line. Double click that. That needs to be a dash line. So we'll use the same dash line. I'm just going to group those two together for now. And let's just rotate it. Might make more sense. So that's going to be my fold that's going to glue there. Then let's rotate it back. So if I line that fold line up with the bottom, that overlaps. So that flap on the top's still going to overlap. So that looks right. So let's just fill that in with yellow. Am I losing you all? I hope you're all, I keep losing my screen and my comments. Just give me a minute because I can't see any comments whatsoever. Right, so I've got Kareen, delete the top uncoloured piece and substitute for a copy of the brown piece. Unless you have too many errors, put a flap on the yellow piece, yeah. Could you change the top flap shape? Yeah, you can. Take your time, Ashley. It teaches us how you think. You don't need 1.5 for the tab. No, you're right, I don't. That looks fine. Right, so, okay, so I think this is going to be, right, so someone said, can we change the shape of the flap? So let's see if we can find a rounded rectangle. Let's have a look. Or we could round it ourselves, but let's just see. Let's see if we can grab this one, drag it out. So let's make that one a little bit bigger. So this is, we need this to be 8.25. So if we take that one away, let's move our wiggle room. Let's get these two. Edit, align center. I don't want them overlapping that much, so I'm going to take it up a little bit. So that should work. When that welds, that's going to be there. No, I don't like that. I'm going to stretch this out. I want more of a straight line there. So let's just see. So this, let's see. I want that still to stay there, but I want this to come down. No, I don't. Right, let's just get myself confused now. So let's select them, edit center. What I'm trying to do, I don't want this bend here, up here. I want a nice straight line where my flaps are going to be. But the top I'm trying to make so it's got a bit of a curve. So that I think looks as though, although I keep moving the wrong one, that I think looks as though it's going to work. So if we take that away, make sure they line up together and let's weld them and see what happens. If we weld that, bring back in our wiggle room, select both of those, edit center, and then edit a line on the bottom. Take the colour, send the big one to the back. Take the colour out of this, so we've just got dash lines. But again, now my flap's too big, so I'm going to undo. My brain has kicked in, Rachel's saying. I think I'm losing my brain at the moment, Rachel. So I'm going to undo. I want to undo before I get to the weld. So I want this to fit on the mat, basically. It's just about fitting at the bottom here. So I'm going to move this down. I want to bring it down so it fits on the mat, but I want to have enough that I've got enough room to overlap it. So what I'm going to do, let me just draw a line here as a guide. We move that out of the way, group them two together. Bring this one back in. Line them back up centrally. Right, so at the moment, my flap and my middle bit fit on this 12 by 12 mat, but that still fits, and this would be my bottom bit. So if I bring this down now and ignore the flap, they're not going to overlap. So what I'm going to do is make this one bigger. I think this might work, so let's see. Oh, blimey O'Reilly. So I'm going to line these up, ungroup them. Just going to move this one down out of the way. I just want to grab that dash line I've just drawn in because it was a guide. So delete that, zoom back to 50%, which it's not going to let me do. So hang on. Right, sorry, I keep losing the comments, guys. So are you all still with me? I know this is a bit confusing, but this is how I would work it out. I would just be playing around. Yeah, you could remove the curved nodes, you're right. That would probably be a lot easier. Just watch. That piece is too long as you've lost a bit of the top flat. Yeah. But I think if I put that back on there, I think this is going to work now. This is the second time I had logged into your channel. Undo the weld further down. You need more depth on the back. Do you have any videos on how to cut material? I always have to tape fabric down. Kareen, I've got a quilt along going on at the moment. There's a playlist called Quilt Along. Again, if you go to the main page of my channel and in where the magnifying glass is, type fabric, anything I've done with fabric will come up. Right, so let's see. Let's choose them both and see if I can get it. I think what I'm going to do what somebody said. I'm going to make that narrower. Select both. Let's go to edit, align. It's still not fitting on my mat, so I'm going to make it shorter and bring it down. This is going to be a tight fit, so it might have been easier to use a normal rectangle and just round the top corners. But with this far, I don't think the flap is in the middle. No, I think you're right. But I'm just fiddling around trying to get it to fit on the mat first. It's going to be a tight fit, I think, this one. Let's see if we can pinch a bit more. So let's select both, edit, center. Bring this back in, bring this back in. Bring that down. We might just have enough. I might have to make this one a bit taller. Right, I'm going to go with this and see what happens. I've no idea if this is going to work. So I'm going to bring these down and overlap it ever so slightly. Center both of them. And if this centered and... Oh no, I don't need to center. I need to move it down, don't I? Oh dear me. I'm confusing myself now. Right, I'm going to center them both. It looks as though it fits on the mat. I'm going to weld it. I'm just going to go with it and see what happens. So that should be the top half. And this is going to be my wiggle room. So let's put that together, center, and then align that on the bottom. Let's send this to the back. Select that, take the color out, and select both and group. Right, I've just got to, just give me a minute while I rub my eyes because they're getting sore again. Right, let's see what we're saying. Okay, I'm new to all this, can't wait to use a ScanNCut. She also has, okay, how do you get the flap shape? Doesn't really, as you only have 12 inches anyway. So the flaps, what I'm going to do now, yeah. So if I just double click to expose the nodes, on the main part of the envelope, and I'm literally going to drag this top left node down just a little bit, and it looks as though I've got double nodes there. I don't know why I've got double nodes. That doesn't look right, does it? What have we got going on there now? Let's see what we've got. So I've got, let's just delete that and see what happens. Right, let's undo that. So have we got, let's make that straight. That's better. So I'm going to bring that that node on the corner down. I'm going to choose this one, bring this one down a little bit. So that's what we've got there. So is that a group now? I'm going to group that. So this, hopefully, is just about going to fit on a piece of 12 by 12. And this is going to be one part of the envelope. Okay. Now, it looks as though my canvas is freezing now. Great. Probably going to lose this now. It'll probably crash after all this. Oh no, here we go. It just won't for some. Oh, there we go. We're back. Right, let's get rid of all this. So that's my 8 by 8 card. I don't need that. I'm going to get rid of that. That was my flap that I was going to use that I don't need. This is going to be my bottom flap. This bit on the bottom is going to be where I'm going to glue it to this. So if I lined up that line on the bottom, if I've made this tall enough, this flap at the top now should overlap. But to be on the safe side, I can make this bigger because that's easily going to fit on the mat. So I think, are we right now? I think we're right. Okay, so I'm going to put that on the mat. I'm going to take the colour out of this. Need to select it. Take the colour out just in the hope that I'm going to put that on the mat, and I'm going to save this as 8 by 8 envelope just in case anything crashes. And I'm going to say I don't want to overwrite it. I'm going to save it as a new project. It's asking me, do I want to overwrite it, because I had the 5 by 7 up there. And I'm going to say okay. So I've got two bits. This one I want to make a solid outline. So I'm going to ungroup it, select the outline, make that bit a solid line, and then the bit on the bottom is going to be my fold. So I'll group that together again, put that back on there and just resave it. So if I've done this right, which it'll be a miracle if I have, we should be able to cut this in 2 pieces, glue it together, and hopefully have something that would fit an 8 by 8 card. Someone's saying it's looking good. Ashley, should you put the little angle on the bottom corners as well? Yeah, you're probably right, Vicky. I think you're right. I should. You mean on this flap? So if we ungroup, down here, let me think. I'm going to do it on them both actually. So I'm going to select this one, double click to expose the node. No, I'm not going to do this one. No, ignore that. I'm going to leave that one as it is, but I am going to do what Vicky said. I'm going to angle in. I'm going to angle these in, but if I angle them in, it'll bring the whole flap in. So what I'm going to do, with this line selected, I'm going to add in a node. I'm going to bring this node down, trying to keep that line as straight as I possibly can. Let's think how to do this now, because if I angle that, that's it, yeah. Angle that one in, bring this one down, select this node, I'm trying to keep the flaps as straight as possible. Add in a node, bring it down. Bring this bottom node in, bring that down. Let's see, and click away. So that kind of just angles in those corners a bit, which I think, have I angled them the wrong way? Oh, my brain's gone now. Should I be angling them out? Let's think. Let's come back. If I take that one out and bring that one in, yeah, okay, so that's what I need to be doing. So I'm trying to keep this line here of the flap as straight as possible. Let's click away and see. I don't even know if that's right now. My brain's gone to sleep, but I'm going to go with that. We'll see what happens. Could always cut it with a pair of scissors at the end of the day. I'm going to group it. Try and get this to select. It keeps like freezing on me. Won't let me select this now. That one's okay. Just need to get this back on the mat so I can send it over the bottom of the main piece. Yeah. Right, you're just going to have to give me a minute because it's freezing now and it won't let me select. Oh, there we go. Let's get this back on the mat and sent over. Let's save it. Okay, download it, send it to the ScanNCut and close. Yeah, bye, Karine. Thanks for being here. Take the node of the dotted line. Sometimes scissors are the best solution. Yeah, you're right. Right, I'm going to move everything over to my other desk. So give me a minute. And, oh, I need to bring everything over with me. Let's come back to my desk. Move the ones we've done so far. So now I need to try and find 2 pieces of paper that are going to match. My ScanNCut's gone to sleep, so I'll have to wake that up. There you go. The top 2 pieces of paper match, so I'm just going to go with those. Ugh. Bring my mat in. I've not got a clue if this is going to work or not, but if it does, it'll be a miracle. And if it does, you'll have to go back and just watch it on record and try and follow along and work out how I made it work. Right, let me wake the ScanNCut up because it's gone to sleep. Let's flip you back to the ScanNCut. Where's my spatula? Right, I'm going to say, yeah, that's finished cutting. I'm going to hit the home button, okay, to delete all patterns because that was my 5x7. Let's bring you back in the hope that you can see. We'll have to watch replay. I have to go take care. Oh, yeah, take care, Rachel. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm probably missed loads of comments tonight. We're trying to work out what I'm actually trying to show you. So Alison D is saying Whippy 8x8. Oh, Ashley, you're brilliant. Well, we've not cut it yet, Alison, so don't get don't get too excited. Right, retrieve data from Canvas. There it is. I'm going to save it into the machine. Once it's saved, I'm going to delete one part. So obviously we're going to try and cut this in 2 sections now. So I'm going to select one element and just go edit and delete. So I've just got the main big section on. So I'm going to put the mat in and let's see if we can squeeze this onto the 12x12 mat. Like I say, Alison, if you've got a 12x24 mat, you wouldn't have to mess about like I've just been messing about because it would fit. But you know, we've not all got a 12 by 24 mat, have you? So this is kind of my thinking. Whether it works or not is a different matter. I'm going to say okay and do a background scan and start. And while that's doing that, just going to grab my drink. Been a real good session, Ashley. Thank you so much for your time. Hope your eyes get better. Take care, all. Oh, yeah, take care, Barbara. So next week, we'll have to make an 8x8 card. Oh, Vicky. Alison's saying, Jim's in the kitchen giggling as he hears you talking about flaps. Oh, I'm glad I'm giving somebody a giggle. Yes, definitely. After all Ashley's efforts. Wow, right. Let's see. Let me go into, I've got the darkest bit on. I think this literally is going to be a very, very tight squeeze for this. But like somebody else said, you could maybe make the middle section half the size, you know, adjust the heights of your flaps. Hopefully you'll get what I'm trying to get over to you. And if I show you it this way, the long way round, then hopefully you'll be able to work it out and maybe get shortcuts yourself. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. I'm just going to zoom in and just see how much room I've got here. Can maybe shuffle this up a little bit. Let's go down to the bottom and see if we're on the paper at the bottom. Yeah, it looks as though we are. Right, I'm going to go with this. Just going to cut it and see what happens. Got enough room on the width. Excuse me. Select and cut. So while that's doing that, let's move you down a bit. Let's just hope this mat's sticky enough now. Right, let's see. Charlotte Keller's saying, oh, 12 by 24 paper. Yeah. So let me see what anyone else is saying. Meal ready, so got to go. We'll wait with bated breath to see if the envelope. Bless you. We'll see if it works. I've no idea. It'll get done. Alison's saying hi, Earl's Court. Have I missed somebody? Oh, sorry, Earl's Court. Hi, please. Give me a shout out. I'm your biggest fan. Thank you. Well, you're welcome here. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. One made 8x8 group and bring on, say, 6x6 sheet and resize. Perfect. Yeah. Alice is saying, please hit the like button. Ashley deserves this one today. Oh, bless you, Alice. Right, let's unload this mat. Let's peel this away. What's Leslie saying? We'll have to go back and look. What's going on here? Oh, Rita's so funny. What's she saying? Oh, my flaps are too old to adjust. Oh, bless you. Right. We're back at my desk, hopefully. Let's get this off. Peel this one away. I'm not even going to try. I'm going to put the next piece on and cut it, and then let's see if it works. Right, I'm going to put this one on. Take this back to the machine and call up that second bit. So let's go back to the machine. Load this mat. Vicky's saying envelopes are a great use of your less interesting single-sided papers? Yeah, definitely. Alison D, watch the width of dotted lines because reducing size also reduces the width of the fold lines. Yeah, that's also true. Right, so let's go. We're back at the scan and cut screen, aren't we now? So let's say yes, okay to delete all patterns. Retrieve data from the machine because that's where I saved it. Skip to the last page. Find this envelope that's in 2 bits. Put it on the mat, and then I'm going to select. I'm going to go to edit, select the bit I've just cut, send that to the bin, and then this one is. I've got enough space on my 12 by 12 mat, so I don't really need to do a background scan for this one. Just going to load my mat in again because my paper's looking a bit creased. Just give me a minute. I don't know if my mat's playing up now. I'm going to change my mat. Just give me a minute. It's all happening tonight. Let's find my other mat. Put this on here. This mat's probably going to be too sticky now for this paper. Right, let's try this one. Okay, I think we're a bit better with this one. Right, I'm not going to do a background scan because I know that this is going to fit comfortably on this piece of 12 by 12 paper. So I'm just going to do a cut on this and say start because I've kept you all long enough. Righty-ho, so while that one's cutting, which I know you can't see, I'll move this down a bit. Let's see what's going on. Thank you, Creative Concept. You make us think, Ashley. That's the good thing. I'm 66. Don't say sorry for having a sense of humour, Alison. Can you slow down a bit, please? I'm going as slow as I can, Earl's Court. You can always go back and watch the recording. Yes, Alice, I love to laugh, especially during these challenging times. Okay, right, I think we're done. Let's come back, unload this mat, take this one off. Where's my bone folder now? Right, let's see what we've got. So this is the bit with the glue flap. I've just re-stuck 4 of my mats and put too much on. Oh no. I love the company here, but you do need to take care of your eyes. Play nice, children, someone's saying. Okay, thank you. You are so funny. Not sure what's going on there with Earl's Court, but right, let's have a look. So, and it's getting dark now, and I don't want to get up and put my lights on, but hopefully you'll see what's going on. So I'm just going to fold in these flaps if I can see them. This is the top one. Let me move them out of the way for a minute, try and find. Okay, so that's that. So when they fold in, because I angled these slightly, That should fold over nicely. And then my thinking was that this was going to stick in here. And then that's going to be like so. So I think Vicky's right. I think these need a little bit trimming off them to make it sit in here nicely. So I'm going to do that with scissors. So basically I'm just going to, let me move that out of the way in the hope that you can see this better. So this is the glue flap and I want it to sit on the bottom of the envelope. So I'm just going to angle this bit in and just trim a tiny little bit off either side. And it's just when I stick it down, it's going to make, so I'm just taking off those little slithers on the side. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this in and I put this in here and glue that down to the bottom. I'm not sure how well you're going to see this. I'll try and zoom you in a bit more. So can you see, because I angled this bit, these fold in. Oh, they should fold in better. Hang on, let me just try it again. Might have to take a little bit more off. Who said to So that's going to go in there. That's going to go in there. Don't think I've folded that one right. That's going to glue there and that's going to glue there. Oh my days, what a mammoth task this was. But I think we're nearly there. Right, let me get some glue. I'm going to zoom back out again. You made it, well done. Right, I'm just going to put a bit of glue. I am going to use wet glue on this because it's just going to give me a little bit of wiggle room. So what I want to do is line up this fold line now with the bottom of here. I'm going to bend these side tabs or flaps out of the way and I'm just going to line that up on the bottom first and just get those bottom edges nice and flush. And the wet glue just gives you that little bit of extra time. So can you see now? Look, this is why you need a bigger mat to cut it. Right, what's going on? Thank you for sharing your experience with us. I love watching you work. Thumbs up for Ashley. Yay, Ashley, you did it. When all fails, scissors are your best friend. This has been such a great session. Wow. Oh, thank you, Alison. Well, you set me this challenge. Right, a little bit of glue down this edge. And obviously the light's failing now. And I've not picked a very good colour. I've chosen the lightest piece of scrapbook paper, haven't I? Just don't think I've got that folded. Yeah, let me just double check that that's right. Okay, so let's get this done. Fold that up, stick the sides down. The only thing is now, I've not got an 8x8 card to put in it. But the flap folds over and it overlaps enough. Phew! So let's measure it. So it measures 8 1/4 by 8 and 3/8. So 8 1/4 by 8 3/8. And that's because I was juggling this bit around to get it on 12 by 12 mat, wasn't I? So has anybody got any questions? Like I say, I think with this one, this bigger one, you're just going to have to go back and watch the bit in Canvas where I did this to, you know, if you're a bit unsure about what I've done. But the whole idea of this was to try and get a bigger envelope that we can cut on a 12 by 12 mat, basically. If you've got a 12 by 24, no problem. You won't have to fiddle around adding a flap onto this section and gluing it. You'll be able to make it on your full 12 by 24 mat. But being as though I keep forgetting to order one, because to be honest, I don't tend to make things this big normally, do I? But I will have to get one. But at least, you know, for everybody that's only got a 12 by 12 mat like me, you can see. So this is what we've done so far tonight. So they're the two I did for the 5 by 7s. That's the one I've done with you tonight, 5 by 7. That one fits a 5 by 5 card, and this one is going to fit an 8 by 8 card. Thank you, Ashley, for another fun tutorial. Hope your eyes feel better soon. Yay, well done. It is perfect, I'm sure. Thanks so much. Fabulous success. Yes, I know, success. Cool, and thank you. Alison D's got a question. Yes, get a decent drink. Yeah. Well done, Ashley. Your hard work makes it easy for us. Spot on. Thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. Right, has anybody got any last minute questions or anything they want to know about or for me to do? Does paper come in 12 by 24? Yes, it does. You can get 12 by 24 paper. Predominantly it's kind of like A4 or 12 by 12, but you can get 12 by 24 paper. I don't have any 12 by 24 paper, and I don't have a 12 by 24 mat. So that was why I was doing this tonight, set this little exercise to try and see if, you know, I could make an 8 by 8. Well, that's actually 8.25, isn't it? By what did I say? 8 3/8. But I wanted to be able to try and make an envelope live with you that would fit an 8 by 8 card and have a little bit of wiggle room. Thank you, you're a star. Don't ask questions again. Lovely, so many tools we can use in our own work. Can you teach more on cutting out letters and transferring those letter zip bits? I don't know what you mean, Alice. Sorry, can you just tell me again? I'm not sure what you mean. Can you teach more on cutting letters and transferring those zip bits? I'm not sure of the name. Where you get other fonts. I'm sure I can show, Alice. I'm just not quite sure what you mean. Thank you so much, Ashley, for another informative, fun evening. Maybe you can make a sticker next time. Earl's Court, I did stickers last week. If you go to the live playlist on my channel and look for the Canva, last Sunday night's live, I did stickers. And obviously you could use the stickers on your envelopes. Alison's saying good night from Jim and myself. You all, Ashley, don't forget the thumbs up. Yeah, take care, Alison. I hope you're starting to feel better. And Jim, hope you're okay. Alice Dafont, don't forget I mean. Use a roll of wrapping paper or wallpaper. Dingbat, someone's saying. Oh, is that what you think she means? Do you think she means she wants me to use? Dingbats are not letters though, are they? She said, could I do something with cutting letters? Alice, if you just try and give me a bit more of an explanation about what you think I mean. So Alice is saying Dafont, yes, Vicky. Okay, so was it just the website you wanted to know about? I'm not sure what you mean when you said, did it say, could I try and show cutting letters? Not sure. So I'll try and get a picture of these and I'll get them put up on the thumbnail of the YouTube video so that hopefully people can understand what it is that we've been trying to do tonight. But anyway, you've got some, but you know, a couple of different sizes there. Earl's Court, I'm not sure who you're asking, but I'm in the UK, but lots of people on here are in the US and Canada and all over the world. Does Alice mean putting fonts on her computer? Yes. All right, okay, Alice. So you want me to show how to get a font from DaFont and put it on your computer? Yeah, we can do that sometime. Okay, right. So I'm not so sure if anyone's got any last minute questions or anything. Another great time here. Thanks, Ashley. See you next week. Yeah, I think I should be okay. I think next week. Hannah's got a golf match next week, which I'm going to watch, but I think we should be back in time. So I think I'm going to be okay for next Sunday. Unless anything changes, I'll put it on the community tab on my YouTube channel. But I think we're going to be okay for next Sunday. But the following Sunday, I might not be able to make because she's got another match and I don't think she tees off until in the afternoon. But I'll let you all know. So Alice is saying yes, Ashley. Okay, so you want me to show how to get fonts from DaFont, excuse me, how to get fonts from DaFont and how to put them on your computer. Okay, we can, I'll add that to my list. Charlotte's saying, succeeded in doing Let's Pay homage to your efforts. It boggles my mind how you can think and do and teach at the same time. It boggles my mind, Charlotte. Ashley, and hope you get your eyes sorted out. Yeah, I will do, Mandy. Thank you. So I think we've all established that Earl Court lives in the UK. Right. Away from us tonight. Look after yourself, Ashley. If you can't make it, we will miss you, but we understand. Oh, thank you, Leslie. Hope your eyes get better soon. Yeah. Right, I'm going to go now, guys, because I've been on, I don't even know how long I've been on here. What is it? Nearly 7:30. Oh, dear. I've got one ready, diary to post. To go live this week, maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. Don't forget one. Yeah, I got that. I live in the USA. Good luck in your goal. Oh, thank you. YouTube idea how to use Canva. I did that last week, Earl's Court. Right, I'm going to go. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. I know starting up here in the UK. So, you know, just take care of yourselves and hopefully I will see you all next Sunday. As I say, no idea what we're going to do yet, but I've got a list because people did message me. So I'm going to go for now. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.